So it's not every day I make a video like this. If you want to make more money in your landscaping business, you have to watch and listen to what I'm going to tell you right now. Literally, I woke up, I got my coffee. So I was chatting with one of our green industry brothers. Please listen to everything I'm going to say. If you're just getting started, or you're in the like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5-year mark, and you're not making the money you want to make, listen to what I'm going to say. So I was chatting on Facebook with one of our green industry brothers, and I hear this thing. Sometimes guys get really, really frustrated because you've been working your tail off. You've been putting in the time. Let me go sit down. You've been putting in the work. You're out there brutally beating yourself. I know all this. I'm not saying like I haven't been there. I know what it's like to work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for literally 4 months straight. And now you're not seeing your family. You're not at the dinner table. So with all that being said, let me get to the meat and potatoes here. You keep doing this, it'll keep happening. And you'll get to like literally the 5th year will roll around. I heard Lawn Care Millionaire talk about stuff like this in some of his videos back in the day. He had this video called it "Why You'll Be Burned Out by August." But in my words, it's like, so you tell yourself in the winter, that's it. When the spring hits, I know what I'm talking about from cold hard experience. Right? I have a landscape business. I love my business, and it's finally like dialed in, so it's a mean little money making machine. And it took years, but it had nothing to do with the business part. It had to do with the resolutions inside of you, right? So I don't have a multi-million-dollar landscape business. Go find those guys. But if you want to get resolved about things in your business, here's some cold hard facts you got to face. Okay. So you tell yourself, that's it. When the spring comes, I'm going for it. I'm gonna answer the phone every time it rings. I'm gonna get all the leads. I'm gonna market and advertise. I'm gonna make sure I ask for reviews. We're gonna raise the prices. And you'll get it all dialed in. And then the spring breaks, and what do? You hit the ground running. You're excited now. This time it's different. And it is different. You've got a vigor about you. You feel like the eye of the tiger. It's so you hit the ground running, you take off, and it works. You start making more money. Your calendar is booked with work. You're getting new customers left and right. You're confident. You hire a new employee, and then you're out there working. And then little by little by little, by somewhere around June, July, 4th of July, you start to get a little winded, but you keep pushing through. And then somewhere around August, you find yourself out there. It's 100 degrees out, and you're out there, and it hits you that you have $8,000 more in the bank. But now things are breaking down, things are piling up, things aren't getting done, you're missing family events, and then somewhere around late August, September, you can find yourself burned out again. And it dawns on you that not much has changed. What's going on? I set out to crush it, and you did crush it, but not much has changed. Shh, Gino. So here's what I want to say. Man, this is hard to talk about this. You have to draw hard lines in the sand and make decisions you've never made before. I used to repeat to myself all the time. Albert Einstein said the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Did you hear that? So just working harder or trying harder or mentally trying harder, being more frustrated or being more committed doesn't make the difference. You have to take actual drastic changes. So here it was. The winter of 2015 and the spring of 2016, I had said all these things. And we had moved out of our tiny little 1-bedroom apartment into a 2-bedroom condo. But they were like luxury condos and they were nice. Finally, I had a little bit more space and I had a garage. I could put all my tools, and I had a storage unit where I stored landscaping stuff. I paid for commercial parking to park my trucks and trailers. And our rent was now double. And it started, basically I spend the winter taking online courses and talking to my friends that have scaled their service businesses and being obsessed. And here's what happened. That one thing that made the difference was I had to dig in and do the hard, scary ass things that I had been avoiding, which was taking on higher ticket price jobs. Because when you crunch all the math, the profit margins lie in obviously volume, or it's the margin after all of your cost of goods sold, all of your overhead, everything that you're paying your employees, the labor, the gas, the insurance, the taxes, the breakdowns, the expensive breakdowns, your office payment, if you have a shop, all of that. How much money are you personally taking after paying yourself a fair market wage as a W-2 employee if you're a technician in the field in your business, without the distributions? And if you're taking distributions or draws and paying taxes on them, how much are you clearing from your business after all that? But here's the next thing you're not including. Are you including the extra money it takes to now grow the business? And are you even charging that? So when you start putting money into that, like, hey, we need a new truck, we need another truck, now we need a shop, now we need to hire an office manager, because you could do it all yourself and pay yourself for all that, but you'll spread yourself so thin, you'll totally burn out. I don't care if you're 27 or 33, you will wake up looking like you're like 65 years old one morning with bags on your eyes going, I can't do this. You won't even be able to get out of bed. So how sustainable is that? So that's why money buys you equipment, people, and all that. But the money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it does grow on trees, actually. The money comes from you putting together a budget and getting a bookkeeper and analyzing all your money coming in and coming out, and looking at your whole business from a data perspective. So, like, look at Coca-Cola is a data company. They just happen to make soda pop and beverages, and now they own all types of stuff, but they're a data company. And the most successful business owners I know are data people, right? So now here's the tough part, the cold hard truth. You have to develop and refine a sales, marketing, advertising, lead gen, and referral system, and put systems into your business that you track, and you follow the system and improve upon it constantly, and it gets done every single time with every single piece of marketing and advertising, every lead coming in, every customer, every job, every follow-up, that you're checking boxes and going through, collecting data and information and segmenting it and putting a stonewall between what's organic marketing versus paid marketing and advertising, and then analyzing where the leads are coming from, in what zip codes, at what psychographic, demographic, geographic location, your travel distance, and tracking all the data, finding out where the money and where the waste is in your business, and then finding out where you have room to increase margins, to raise prices, and raise prices on a split test. So you're not just going to lose all your customers. Because I'm telling you, when you find out how much money it actually takes you to run your business, so you don't run yourself into the ground, so you can make healthy profits, be able to go on vacations, I don't know, buy a new truck and put your Christmas presents under the tree, and be able to, I'll save the next thing I'm about to tell you. No, I'll tell you now. When I started analyzing all this, I realized that, oh my God, I have to raise the prices immediately and raise them again and again and again so high, I'm going to lose customers. Here's what happens when you go to grow your business. You lose customers. They start dropping like flies. You get your heart broken, and you realize a lot of the customers care about you, but there's also a lot of customers that it comes down to the bottom line. They're not as loyal to you as you thought, and you're kind of just like their landscaper. So when you raise all the prices, you're going to start losing all your customers, and you're going to get your heart broken, because you're going to realize that you thought they were loyal to you, but at the end of the day, you've got the service hat on and you're running a business, and this is going to be very disheartening, and it can break your heart and make you cold inside because you're operating your business from your heart and you love your customers, right? And you care about them, and you'll jump through hoops to make them happy, but then as soon as you raise the prices, you realize that they start firing you. So your whole business can implode, and you have to reset the business at a new higher standard and shrink back down to like new high prices. So you got to keep them how you got them. Some of these customers you can raise the prices on and they'll stick. Don't just quit them. Price yourself out of the market. So you get very analytical, and you start looking at the data and let the data run your business. And then you can say, we have to make a minimum of, I don't know, for you, it could be $75 per man hour of every single hour that from the time the truck is started to the time the truck stops. Or you can find out billable man hours. You have to figure all this stuff out. Or say the truck has to make this much revenue. Say each truck has to do a minimum of $950 per day just to pay expenses, and that doesn't mean that's your like break even. So I know people that run multi-million-dollar service businesses that the trucks do $1,500 to $1,800 a day. This is the scary part. And at the size of the infrastructure of their business, they're literally just making ends meet, and everybody's getting paid and people have insurance, and it's a healthy business. But it's like they're squeezing through these cash flow purgatories to make it through to the other side, which requires more and more money, because when you have to make key hires, that's why you hear about these people that run $1 million business and they're packing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch. And living, like, what do you mean? You have a $7 million business and you live in a little tiny ranch house and you drive a used truck? And I thought you would be like a millionaire. Like, no, no. So it's all lies. We've been lied to. Your lifestyle doesn't look any different from 100K to $1 million. There's no visible difference because all the infrastructure eats up the cost of running that business and growing that business and scaling through those purgatories. If you listen to my 12 Steps to Scaling a Business interview with Dan Plata, I'll put links in the description below, plus the entire podcast. And we just did another podcast for like 4 hours. I put, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 on the price of this totally free podcast. I think we just released it. It's on the Untrapped podcast. He talks about the purgatories of scaling. So I've had the opportunity, and also because of my YouTube channel and speaking around the country, I've sat down and I've broken bread with people, with hundreds and hundreds of people with all different size businesses, and I coach people to help them start and get their landscape business to and past the 100K mark. So I have a lot of experience, and I have friends that are coaches. So and it's kind of scary if you really look at how just being motivated is nowhere near enough. Motivation is a prerequisite. Being fired up and passionate about your business. But when things get tough, the tough get going. That means when you there's a 5-year mark. I went through this. It's like this 5-year itch. It's where your business didn't grow and you're not making the money that you dreamed you would have been making by now, and 5 years of your life has gone by and you're still stuck. And sure, you've got, you went from chucking a truck to what we call Possibility Pete. You've got a couple employees, you've got a whole bunch of customers, and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're making enough money to make ends meet, but you're stuck. And what happens is you can get burned out, and you can start telling yourself, I'm sick of this business. I'm done. I'm out of this. You start looking around for other things, and you take your eye off the ball because you don't know how long you can maintain, because you don't see the results coming in, and you start having a breakdown inside. And that's when you're afraid to reach out to other people. All this shame comes up. It's a really tough spot to be in. So when you're in that spot, you got to make a tough decision. And I think that if you don't have any other options, if you go try to start another business, like a carpet cleaning business or a tile and grout cleaning business or whatever you try to get into, you're going to have to eat a lot of shit for a long time to also get good at that business. And the same problems that you have in your business now, you're going to carry with you into your next business. It's going to be the same shit all over again. I hope you've got to this point in the video. If you've gotten to this point in the video, put in the comments, I got this. I have to know. So, and hit the like button. You're gonna carry the same crap into the next business, but really it's the mindset that, hey, we didn't grow up around a bunch of entrepreneurs and people that knew how to do all this. We grew up around employee-minded people. We were told to go to college and all this, so that we don't know. It's not even your fault, right? So for me and my business to start making more money, I had to literally dive in and do scary stuff and start taking on bigger jobs at higher tickets. Our average ticket job was, I don't know, between $300 and $700. We took our average ticket from $312.50 all the way up to $1,649.50. We must have quadrupled our profit margins over 10 years, of course. We do have P&L statements and we analyze everything. Coffee. But here's where I started making more money. I was like, that's it, bro. Put the war paint on your face and start selling bigger jobs. I'm talking about landscape. This is where we started offering more services, which there's a caveat to this too, but we started doing landscape installs, ripping apart and demoing garden beds, and then installing entire new garden beds with buried gutter downspouts and putting fabric and decorative stone with different types of edging, and installing plants and shrubs and ornamental trees, and top dressing with mulch and putting little boulders and doing these basic kind of designs. You can use, there's an app called iScape where you can just draw it up or discuss it with the customer. You know, we started doing these jobs that now were, $2,500, $3,500, $5,500, then $7,500. Then I started landing jobs for like $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. Then I started doing jobs from $7,500 to $15,000. Then we started landing jobs from $12,000 to $15,000 to $18,000 to $20,000. And so when I started taking on these, $10,000 to $20,000 landscaping jobs, I was scared, because now it's just me and a couple guys. and so you're handcuffed to these jobs. You're used to doing lawn care and trimming shrubs and putting down some mulch and maybe planting a bush here and there, but now you're taking on these bigger jobs. So now you're going and getting education. You're up all night watching YouTube. You're taking online courses. You're studying and researching how to do all this because you want to do the best you possibly can. And if you put your heart and soul into it and you do all your study and research and you make sure you do everything right, and if you do mess something up, you rip that thing out and you fix it. I mean, this is a customer's property. They're spending their hard-earned money. And most landscaping, unless you're getting into hardscaping and there's very specific like drainage issues you have to pay attention. There's a lot of stuff you got to pay attention to. But what I mean is, if you break a sprinkler, you fix it. If you install a straight piece of edging and that motherfucker wobbly, you better rip it out and redo it and learn how to do it and make sure it's perfect. I call it the final walk around. When you knock on that customer's door to do the final walk around and collect that final the final payment, everything better be absolutely perfect to the utmost amount, as if that was your grandma's property, right? And that's so you leave no stone unturned and you don't cut any corners, and you learn a lot of hard lessons when you start taking on these bigger jobs, because you're doing a bunch of stuff that maybe you haven't done before. And these bigger jobs are just a series of little tiny jobs all booked together all into one bigger job, and then you start learning halfway through the job you didn't charge enough. So you're going through these horrendous growing pains that are extremely painful, where you're coming home at 3 days into the job at the dinner table with your wife, and you're all like dirty and still in your landscape clothes, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And you're like, yeah, I should have charged like $5,000 more for this, and I'm gonna do this whole job for 4 days or 5 days straight, and I'm only gonna make like $500, like $100 a day as the business owner, taking on all this stress. And you gotta, that it's, if nothing goes wrong, and then you realize, oh my god, I should have charged, instead of $7,000, it should have been $15,000. And then you can get stuck in this doom loop where you're undercharging and being drug along the bottom, and it's terrifying. It's scary, and the only way out is through this doom loop. I call it the low ball trap. You get stuck in this weird perpetual cycle where the fear makes you accidentally underquote the next job, and then the next job, and the next job. But then what happens is Tony Robbins talks about this a little bit. If you have success, it makes you excited and you get results. So the results give you confidence, which make you go take positive intentional action. And then what happens is you get positive, and it's this upward spiral. So what happens is you're gonna land at it's not really a jackpot job, but it's a job that, it is a jackpot job. It's a job where you charge high, the customer says yes, the job goes totally smooth, and you end up making like $4,000 or $5,000 in 3-4 days, on top of all the other little work you're doing, and you end up making like $5 or $6 grand in a week. That's all profit, and you go, oh my God, and you start getting really nervous because you're like, oh, I've never made this type of money in my life before. Everything's fine, and the customer gives a positive 5-star review, and you realize, I got this. We're gonna go get some new embroidered shirts made, bro. Get some logos on the truck, like brand new. We're gonna, like, all of a sudden, all this possibility comes flowing in, and you get incredibly excited. And that positive expectancy and anticipation of like, wow, you did it, leads into that confidence, leads to the next job and the next quote, and you start. The heavens open up and light shines on your business, and you see. It's amazing, and then you hit this upward trend where you just start landing boom, 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 all these amazing jobs, and you're walking tall, and you can end up clearing, like, you'll do your first $30,000, $40,000 or $50,000 month, and then you look and be like, oh my God, honey, we brought in $54,000 this month, and then you're like, I'm the man. Well, yeah, when you experience that stuff, it changes your whole mind of like, wow, should we really be driving out that far to cut Mrs. Jones' lawn and her 3 neighbors for $30 a piece? And at the end of the day, like, should I really be doing that little tiny bush trimming job? And I think that I wouldn't just let those people go just yet. But here's the biggest thing. When you actually start to make some really good money and you see your bank account going up and you're paying off debts and you start taking on these bigger jobs and growing your confidence, you're growing. It's an inner transformation. You grow as a person, you grow as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. But there's a kind of a scary part to this. It's because it's not scary, it's just brutal facts. If you look and say, well, are all my guys on payroll as W-2 employees? Do we have workers' comp? Is how many miles are on my truck before the transmission blows up? Where are we parking all of our stuff? Am I paying my employees a wage that I can be proud of? Or am I paying them so low that I'm embarrassed by it? Do I need to give these guys a bonus? Now are you running an abundant business? So the scary part is some of the most successful business owners that I know, they're hitting those type of jackpot jobs. That's all they do. Boom, boom, boom. And when I talk to them and I ask them these questions, it's kind of scary because in order to make the type of money you need to make, the revenue you need to make to run a very healthy business where you pay employees well, you pay them on time, they drive nice trucks that aren't, dangerous to drive, everything's insured, there's like a shop they can go to or a place, and you can have like, company parties. You have a business that you're proud of. You have to only take on profitable work, and you have to get very good at marketing and advertising and tracking everything that's going on in your business, which means you're going to have to be okay with your business imploding and losing a whole bunch of clients because you've raised the prices on them. You're going to have to get okay with being very uncomfortable for a while. And I hope you haven't upgraded your lifestyle at all, because you're about to go through cash flow purgatory. You're about to take all the money that you're making and reinvest it back into your business, invest it back into a more legitimate business. You have to get cash reserves in. You have to open up more bank accounts and accounts specifically for taxes. You got to pay employees more if you want to retain them. You have to start analyzing what services you're offering in your service area, and you have to grow as a business owner from just a technician in the field working your guts out to now you're more manager minded, and you start paying attention to the marketing, the production, The sales and the administrative side of the business is going to eat you alive. Accounts receivable and accounts payable. Are you on top of billing all your customers on time? Are you storing getting credit card on file? Are you billing them and collecting money right away and getting that money into the account? Are you following up with customers that owe you money and make sure that doesn't go too far to keep the cash flow coming in? Are you being very on top of the administrative side of your business? If you're getting letters from the unemployment insurance agency or from payroll, are you taking care of it swiftly and promptly? Are you paying your quarterly taxes along with the all the payroll taxes? Do you have an accountant and a bookkeeper? So the administrative side of the business is so important. I have 2 businesses, and I have a bookkeeper and an accountant, and the amount of I do Friday finances. There's so much finances to take care of just on Fridays, especially during tax time, like right now, that I have it booked out in my calendar. That, okay, this Friday we're going to do all our normal Friday finances, but then we're going to analyze the P&Ls and go through the credit card statements line by line and look for just in any errors. I look through everything with my own eyes before we submit for taxes. I want to make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. But we look through everything, and then so we'll go through financials at different levels. I just don't want to talk about it here just to make sure everything is perfect. So I have to add a couple extra hours each Friday to get the stuff done. And then Monday is another part of administrative day where you're sitting on the phone with the payroll company, with the unemployment insurance agency, with workers' comp, with the general liability. And so it's very time consuming. You're going to have to hire an office manager or somebody in the office at least part-time to help you do all this stuff, because you won't be able to be out in the field overseeing your guys, and you might be. So this is, I think that the next step is you can just get a second truck and make your truck your mobile office, and make sure you got Wi-Fi in there and a tablet and a laptop, and you're basically just going to live in your truck for a year or two, so you can be on the job site overseeing what your guys are doing and making sure they're doing it right, and you could jump out of the truck anytime and catch them. Right? You could be going and getting materials or having somebody do that. And then you can also be there doing all the administrative work and being on the phone and make sure the business is running if you can't afford an office manager yet. But if you get an office manager, so you have to decide, the next step is, are you going to stay in the field and oversee operations and drive and be the leader and drive everything forward and make sure that production is happening at a very efficient rate? Or are you going to become the office manager and the head of marketing, administration, and sales? Because the sales is the most important thing that drives all this. You have to be out meeting with customers, picking up the phone and meeting with customers constantly. We funnel everything into Monday quotes. If you're growing your business, you might do quotes. I don't know how often. Now we're in 2024 at the time of this video. Speed. People order stuff on Amazon and it shows up in same day a lot of times. So then there's a new thing, it's speed. If you pick up the phone fast and you can get to a customer fast and you have everything that they need, they're going to want to go with you because you've already shown that you're fast and you can show up. If you have all the credibility and the credentials, they might not even care about the cost. They just want to throw money at the problem and get it done. So that means you have to leave the job site. You have to get off the phone and be with that customer for 30 minutes. Have you qualified that? Because there's so much to talk about. So you can't do it by yourself. You need people and you need to pay people. So that means it's going to take a new level of commitment and a new level of clarity and consistency, which means cutting out other options. If you're addicted to scrolling on your phone endlessly, right, looking at Instagram reels of just stupid shit that doesn't upgrade your life, then the next day you're going to be kicking yourself because you didn't spend a half an hour just planning the next day and planning the job site and making sure you're informing your guys and informing your office manager so everybody's on the same page. Do you have a CRM, a customer relationship management software that allows you to run your business so everybody's on the same page and they know what's going on? Do you use QuickBooks so you have all your accounting in order? We use, here's a good time for a pitch, Jobber. I've been using Jobber for 4 years in my business, actually going on 5, and I love it. If you want a CRM to run your business, go to getjobber.com/Kelfus and get a free 2-week trial and a huge discount with my exclusive link. I'll put a link in the description below, but seriously. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this. I want to know how long you've been in your business. I know this is a long video, but I was prompted and motivated to talk about this, and I could go on and on about it. I'll also be turning this into a podcast. It'll be out in a few weeks on the Untrapped podcast, is my podcast on Apple and Spotify, where you can listen to it while you're working or out and about. And then if you need help training employees, I put together a 4-step a guide. It's totally free. It's called the 4 Steps to Training Employees at keithkelfus.com/4 steps. You can get the free download. It tells you the exact guide to train employees, because that was a huge frustration for me, not knowing how to train employees. That's a whole nother video. If you like these type of talking videos where I'm just talking through stuff, I can make more of them. Let me know in the comments below and I'll make more for you. I know they're not the most entertaining. People like videos where we're like out in the field and we're like chopping with an axe and I have tons of videos like that, but these are important as well, which is actually how you run your business. And then if you're brand new in the landscaping business and you're watching this, or you're planning on crushing it this spring, you want to get out and get going, I've created a free 3-video series that literally teaches you how to start the landscape business, the mindset, and how to deal with a packed calendar of all this landscape work and be on time and have integrity to your new clients. It's really exciting. That's keithkelfus.com/landscaping series, one word. I'll put a link in the description below. Go there and you can get access to this free video series. Also in the near future, we did our Level Up Your Landscaping workshop. It was a live 2-day workshop where I walked everybody through this. And if I'm going to be doing that again soon, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications, and I'll let you know when the workshop is coming. You can also follow me on Instagram at Keith Kelfus. It's at Keith Kelfus everywhere, and on TikTok. So I hope you crush it, and I'm happy to be here, and I wish you the best. I'll see you in the next video.
It's not the 90s anymore. This isn't how we do things. Now, with Jobber software, you can run your entire business on the smartphone app. People are asking me all the time, what's the #1 tool that I use to run my landscaping business? It's Jobber. I'm Keith Kelfus with Kelfus Professional Services, and I've been running my landscaping business in Michigan for 13 years, and I was so frustrated until I found the Jobber app. You can do billing, invoicing, payment collection, marketing, routing, scheduling. It literally is the brain of my landscaping business, and so many others can agree. And since I'm a Jobber ambassador, you can get a totally free 2-week trial of Jobber software now. Plug it into your business and see how great it is. And then when you decide to sign up, you can get a huge discount with my exclusive link. So click the link.